Good morning. Today is March 15th and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning right now. And I thought I'd take you through the garden and show you what is in bloom. Now I know I'm looking into the sun, but there are so many pretty things on this side of the yard. This lower petalum is blooming. This is the cotton candy apium and it is also starting to leaf out. I think it's pretty much finished its flowering. This is a early producing fruit. This is the O. Henry peach and it is in full bloom. It is looking absolutely gorgeous. These beautiful flowers here. I am seeing bees on it here and there. I was really worried because we've gotten quite a bit of rain. This is the espaliered wonderful pomegranate, and this is the pink satin espalier pomegranate. Lastly, in this little row of fruit trees, or in my fruit orchard area, the Fuyu persimmon is coming back. Lots of little buds showing up here. So I'm excited. I've made several efforts to grow a persimmon because I love the Fuyu. And I've shared this little corner a couple times. This is a couple agapantha, some Dutch iris, bearded iris, and fortnight lilies in yellow here on either side. And then we had this pot moved and it has a salvia in the top. The Dutch iris are almost ready to bloom here. You can see the stalks forming, the flower stalks forming right now. Things are starting to look really pretty. Some stuff is finished blooming and some stuff is starting to bloom. I've talked about this plant before. This is lemon balm. It is in the mint family and will show up everywhere in your garden if you plant it. But I usually let it show up in tufts around the garden because it produces a really pretty green ball structure. And then I just pull it up where I don't want to see it. This might be hard to see, but the candy corn spirea is starting to leaf out. It produces these beautiful, brightly colored red leaves when in the spring. Then they turn green and have these really pretty pink flowers. And then they get a bright red again in the fall. So got lots of interest in this plant. The orange rockets around the yard are still in their dormancy period, so we'll see how those leaf out. So this little corner vignette of the blue arrow, the purple bearded iris, the Del Oro yellow daylilies, orange rocket, and the spirea. This combination always looks really beautiful in the spring. And shortly after that, the purple pillar will bloom as well. I have not had a chance to do any separating of these foxgloves, and there are hundreds in here, and there are some that are even starting to produce spikes. In front of the foxglove there is purple pincushion flower here. 3 plants I planted several years ago. It is a perennial here, and they are also producing buds, so we will start seeing flowers. The last major plant in this bed right here is a columbine, a purple and white columbine I bought last year right as it was finishing flowering. So I have not seen how big this is going to get, nor have I seen how it's going to fill out in the garden. This will be the first year that I actually get a sense of what this plant does. Lastly, back here, more of the lemon balm. There's comfrey right in front of it that usually comes up a little later, and more of the purple bearded iris. The California poppies, this little group that was the most, had the most root structure, has started to bloom, and they are looking beautiful. Most of them in the yard are not ready to go yet. The work I did pruning and cleaning up this pretty and pink Eden rose looks like it's working. It's blooming. I've got lots of great growth, and I'm really happy with the way it's looking right now. I don't know the name of this cute little flower here, but the freesia is starting to open up here and develop the stalks. So this has been here for quite a few years, and I think this is the first year it's looked as good as it does today. I believe it's because we had a lot of additional water that we have not gotten in previous years. And these 3 pots right here have my blueberries, and I have been working on cleaning out the dead wood here, fertilizing. This is a self-watering flower bed that I got from Costco a couple years ago. I planted this up with some plants that I wasn't really familiar with. The brachium, maybe, and the bacopa. I'd never planted either of these before, so it was kind of my test space. And then this is a dwarf gara. So I have these all survived. Well, most of it survived. I plan to pull the plants out and put them in around the yard and do something else in this flower bed. We've also placed it against the house as opposed to being in front of the fountain last year. This is where it sat last year. We decided that we wanted maybe to have an elevated bed here, potentially 2, but we're going to start with the 1, see how it goes, see if we're happy with it before we invest in another, because this was not cheap. So far this bed is looking pretty good. The pansies are looking really nice still, but I probably don't have much longer before they're going to be getting too much sun. I have a couple flowering sweet peas here that are starting to come up. I got one here and one here. I've also planted additional seeds because not all of them took this last fall. And then I am starting to worry about these arbovitas. I have done more research, and this spot gets a good amount of sun right now. At some point when the Chinese pistache is older, it will probably provide more shade and make these more comfortable. But the idea was that these weren't going to get too tall, maybe 3 feet. I am not sure how well they're going to do in the sun, and I'm not sure that I'm actually going to be able to keep them size controlled. When I was at my boutique garden center asking for help, this is what they recommended, and now I'm starting to worry about it. You know how it goes. We worry about our plants, we worry about our plant choices, we worry about the colors we chose, the placement, everything. So we'll see. The plants are here, they're planted, so unless I want to excavate and move them around, this is probably where they'll stay until they get too big. The last thing that's changed is on these sugar snap peas. We have lots of flowers showing up now on the plants. Now, I have always planted these in the late fall so that they can develop into mature plants by the time it's time to fruit. But I am not sure if that results in these plants being just too big, and maybe I should be planting them a little later, potentially. I don't know. What do you do for these? When do you plant them, and what zone are you in, so I can kind of figure out how that works for me. Oh, I gotta fix that. I have quite a few incomplete projects that I want to do in the yard, so we're gonna see how the next couple weeks go as the weather improves and the garden center start getting all the plants that I'm hoping to add to the garden, and as all the things that I did plant last year, the perennials I planted last year, start to return and start to show little bits of green growth around the yard. But right now, this is the state for mid-March of the yard. It's looking pretty. Oh, and by the way, this red bud is covered in buds, and so this is going to be gorgeous probably in another week, maybe. Anyway, thank you for joining me for my garden journey, and I'll see you in the next one.